these screens aren't on. Well, one is. Are you ready? Okay, I'd like to welcome everybody and call to order this intergovernmental meeting for Sweetwater County for this Monday, December 13th, 2021. There is a quorum present, I believe, from looking at the screen, is Lauren on and Jeff, but in the chambers are Commissioner Lloyd, Commissioner Toman, and myself. We're looking through right now to see if Commissioner Lloyd and
Jeff is on.
Commissioner Lloyd is on by Zoom.
No, Smith.
Commissioner Smith is.
I'm sorry, Commissioner Smith. Thank you, Commissioner Smith. And how about Commissioner Shanefield?
I don't.
All right, she said she'd be joining us, so she may be a little late. But anyhow, there is a quorum present. Before we move through with our agenda item, which is basically to look at our committees for reports and that dealing with ambulance, please stand and join me for the Pledge of Allegiance. Following the Pledge of Allegiance, we'll have a moment of silence and remembrance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. For our agenda tonight, welcome. For our agenda tonight, of course, is first report out by ambulance, then also a 6 penny. But first of all, we will, before we approve the agenda, we'll go through and take roll, and I'll start with City of Green River. Mayor Rust or Reed Clevenger, are you out there? And if you are, will you introduce who else is there?
I'm here, Mr. Commissioner. This is the mayor, and Councilwoman Bushman is on also.
Good evening, Mayor, and good evening, Councilwoman Bushman. City of Rock Springs, Mayor Como.
Mr. Chairman, how are you doing there?
Wonderful.
I would like to say I could tell you who is here, but for some reason I have Jeannie Demas's screen. I know we have Councilors Robinson, West, Hickerson. Oh, there it goes. We have Chief Walmsley with us here, Councilor Demas, Chief Pacheco, and I think that's it from Rock Springs.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Welcome to yourself as well as your council members and also your different department administrators. Welcome. How about Wamsetter? Anybody on from Wamsetter? Thank you. Superior, Mayor Wolf.
Yep, I'm here. How's everybody doing?
Great. Yourself? Anybody there with you?
Nope, not tonight.
All right. Thank you for joining us. How about anybody from Bear Oil? Granger. Anybody from Granger? Mayor McCullum? Nobody from Granger. Also, we invited, I believe, Sweetwater Medics, which is Bailey Doctor. Is Bailey on?
No, Ron Gaddy.
No, that's Sweetwater Medics, not, did I say Sweetwater?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry, Ron. From Sweetwater Medics, Ron Gaddy, are you on?
Yes, sir. I'm in attendance.
All right, thank you very much. My apologies. Now we'll go to Castle Rock. Bailey Doctor or anybody?
Yes, I'm here.
Thank you, Bailey. Thanks for joining us, both you and Ron. And I believe also there was an invite sent out to Memorial Hospital. Irene Richardson, the CEO, and Chairman Taylor Jones. Are either one of you there? I see Taylor.
Yes, I'm here too, Chairman Wendling. This is
All right,
Irene.
well, welcome and thank you for joining us. Is there anybody from city government that I may have missed? or town governments? Okay, with that, after introductions, I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda, which is report out on the committees, primarily ambulance. I'll talk a minute where we're at with joint communications, and then also 6 pennies. So, and then of course, other, and then next meeting. So I'll entertain a motion to approve the agenda.
I so move.
So moved by Commissioner Lloyd, a second.
I will second.
Second by Commissioner Toman. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. With that, I forgot for a second. With that, Mayor, is anything you would like added? All right, before we move, I'll entertain a motion to suspend Robert's rules.
Mr. Chairman, I would make that motion.
A motion by Commissioner Toman to suspend Robert's rules. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Commissioner Lloyd. Any further discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, ambulance committee's up first. Commissioner Smith or another member from that committee. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate that. We've been busy over the last couple of weeks, especially the last week. The ambulance committee with Sherry Bushman, Tim Robinson, myself met last Wednesday. We discussed the events that happened the previous day with the Board of County Commissioner meeting, as well as at the Castle Rock Hospital District board meeting. Sherry, Roy, and myself attended that, and appreciate the board that is willing to move forward to take over the area that Sweetwater Medics is currently serving, at least looking into it. Castle Rock and Medics, they're in discussions now, and Bailey and Ron can speak to that some more. Bailey, Todd, and myself, we met with Aaron Reinhardt of Safe Tech on Friday for advice on how to move forward with the transition, and also with the expansion that it will be for Castle Rock. And he was very helpful to make sure that worked through some staffing, pay issues, questions that we had about schedules, equipment, and things like that. And very much appreciate his help. So Bailey and Castle Rock have retained Aaron as a consultant throughout the transition, and even sometime after, so he can come out and take a look at things, see how it's going, and if he has any recommendations at all. And then I guess us as a Board of County Commissioners, we asked that the Castle Rock Hospital District Board put together a proposal for us to see what they may need. And so currently they're doing their due diligence to give us a proposal to take over that ambulance service. And so we are grateful for the work that they're putting in and the effort, and that we're willing to come back to the table after, lots of time passed, lots of quiet, not great communication. And so very grateful for them and their willingness to look at things again, and appreciate that. And then I guess as a committee, Sherry, Tim, and myself, we are curiously awaiting the Rock Springs City Council special meeting coming up on Wednesday that will discuss ambulance as well. And in talking with Tim and Sherry, we extend an invitation to join us as the Board of County Commissioners in solving this forward with the proposals that we'll have coming forward. So look forward to the discussion some more. With that, I'd turn it over to Sherry or Tim if they'd like to add either one. That'd be great.
Thank you, Commissioner Smith. Councilwoman Bushman, anything to add?
Thank you. So Commissioner Smith kind of definitely elaborated on a lot of the issues that we were just discussing and the bullet points. I do want to mention that I did state at Castle Rock's Board of Director meeting that Castle Rock's financials were sound and very solvent. So it should be a natural transition to do the acquisition, in which And Ron Gaddy was there to concur with that as well. And I also just want to mention that with Green River having the mill levy, people need to also keep in mind that the mill levy goes to Castle Rock as a whole. It just so happens ambulance is part of it. So in the future, those services will, as Bailey has mentioned before, services will be expanded, like extended hours, maybe new staffing, and some other things might come down the pipe. So if we go towards the ambulance district, which is part of our strategy to go countywide. And
Thank you. Thank
Pretty
you,
much.
Councilwoman. Councilman Robinson, anything to add?
No, not really much to add. I think Sherry and Jeff covered most everything. I'm just kind of waiting to hear from Sweetwater Medics and Castle Rock. And ultimately, this is going to come down to money. I think. I think it's a great plan to have a single service county-wide, but there's a lot of little details yet to be ironed out. And I'm not sure that we're going to get to all this tonight. Although I was kind of surprised how much we got, or you guys got accomplished on your last meeting. So maybe we can finish everything up tonight and just call it good and, wash our hands of it and be ready for the new year. So anyway, I'll wait to hear from everybody else and get their input. I've got a few questions, but they may be answered by the folks that are going to be talking after me.
Very good. Thank you, Tim. And besides that, the word on the street is that committee of 3 is our miracle workers. So I would not be surprised if this were completed by tonight. Better yet, I hope it's not derailed by the end of the night. Anyhow, I don't believe it will be. That's just a pun. Anyhow, so with that, thanks, Tim. We appreciate the input. As we move forward here, Commissioner Smith, is there any of the other people that are you aware of that they want to speak, or should we just go down the line and see if there's any questions or any input from individuals?
I've not asked Bailey or Ron. I guess I should have done that beforehand, so I apologize for
Okay.
that, but I'm happy to hear from them if they have any additions to the things that we've discussed already.
All right, thank you very much. So we'll go to Sweetwater Medics first. Mr. Gaddy.
Good evening, everybody. I'm at this point providing information and clarity, and so that we can have a very educated look at how this is going to look and how this is going to play out. And like I've mentioned before, I just I just want to make sure that the staff is taking care of it. Sounds like everybody's really on the same page as far as that goes. We know that this is an issue of excellent providers more than anything, and of course money issues. But we've been providing every detail of information that is requested and more. So anything that we feel like it's our responsibility. We made a commitment to work with whatever model was decided we were going to run with. And I think we're making good on that. So other than that, I have nothing else to add.
Thank you, Mr. Gaddy. At this time, I'd say, are there any questions for Mr. Gaddy from anybody on the 2 councils or Superior or Commission? All right, thank you. Thank you, Mr. Gaddy. Bailey, you're up next if you have anything to say.
Sure. Yeah, so we've been, like Ron said, we've been working a lot with him over the last several days. Really appreciate everything that he's doing to help us really try to make a plan. And we're working on our pro forma right now that will tell us more about what we're hoping for an agreement with the county and what that will look like. But, kind of one of the things that we're getting, I think, from the community and some inquiries, some concerns that people have, I just wanted to address with this group and let you know that we, we're going into this with eyes wide open, and I recognize fully that we're the smaller service in the community, but we are, we have been doing this for 40 years, relatively successfully, and we're one of the larger services in the state. And so we have, like Commissioner Smith said, retained a really highly respected consultant that is going to help us look at all of the data that we need. And Ron does have a lot of information that we're getting from him that's going to help us see fully what services are required in Rock Springs. So, the district has always tried to provide really good quality care, and it's going to be the same with the ambulance. I don't think that it would be successful if we were to come in and right away try to start cutting services or doing things in a lot different way than Sweetwater Medics has been able to do them successfully in the past. So that's something that we're really trying to be cognizant of for the two communities. And we're looking forward to working more closely with Ron through this process and with the commissioners to make sure that this is what you all want as well. So I did have a pretty lengthy conversation last week, and I think we were pretty aggressive on Tuesday with our timeline as far as, how long it might take to complete the acquisition. And, I think in that meeting, I said 60 days at the earliest, and I think it's probably looking more realistically like 6 months. And again, that's because we want to make sure that we do everything right from the start. So, as much time as we can get, we will try to make it happen more quickly. This is something that I personally am working on every single day. So just trying to make sure that we get out all the information that we need to make an informed decision, and then we can pass that back on to you. We are hoping to have our official proposal back to the commissioners by the end of this month, if not later next week.
All right, thank you, Bailey. And I'm sure there'll be questions, but also I know, are you going to be at the city meeting on Tuesday or Wednesday? I'm sorry.
Yes, I did speak with Mayor Como about that, and I can attend the very beginning or the beginning of that meeting. I do have a prior engagement that's for my son. So I can't be at the whole thing. It's one of his last Christmas concerts, so I can't miss it, but I will do my very best to stay for just as long as I can.
Very good. And we appreciate you being there. And I'm sure there'll be questions there too as well. Thank you. Okay, any questions for Bailey at this time? Mayors? Mayor Como, anybody in particular in your organization that may have a question? Thank you. I know Irene. Oh, go ahead. Sorry. Who is it?
Okay. I was just going to ask Mayor Como or anybody in Rock Springs what is Wednesday's meeting going to look like now, and do we need to be prepared as an ambulance committee with any additional information, or I understood what it was going to be before, but with this development, I'm wondering what the meeting is now and if we need to be prepared with anything for that meeing at all on Wednesday.
Mr. Chairman, first I apologize. I was trying to find my mute button and it disappeared. And Commissioner Smith, I would ask Councilman Robinson, our liaison, if something is going to change. I did speak with Bailey a bit and informed her of what I would think would be good information for the group. Really, realistically, I think since what has transpired over the last couple of weeks and the good work that the committee has done, there's been some changes and so much information that Councilor Robinson requested that maybe we get together and have a special meeting, a workshop. So Councilor Robinson, do you have any comments? What would you like to see at the meeting?
So, the timeline has kind of gone from 60 days to 6 months, which I understand. I mean, I think that it'd be better if we did things right. But I think as far as the city council goes, cost is going to be something that we need to look at. And obviously you don't have those numbers yet. So also one of the concerns that has been brought up is the level of service, the change from advanced to basic. I know, at least personally, I can't speak for everybody on the council. I'd like to make sure that if we're going to move forward with this, I think our constituents deserve an advanced level of service as opposed to a basic level of EMS. So that's one thing we'll probably talk about. We'll probably talk about possible funding and stuff. I'm not exactly sure. Last week's BOCC meeting changed things quite a bit, so things that were being looked at may not need to be looked at quite as closely with this potential solution at mind. But again, it all comes down to money, where it's coming from, how much it's going to be, who's paying what, where it's coming from. And if this is going to be the long-term solution, are we going to need to be looking at some form of for instance, like Green River's got a mill levy long-term for the Green River or the Rock Springs side. So that's those are the questions I would have. But again, I can't speak for everybody on the council. I'll let anybody else that may have some questions can hop in there. But that's what I'd be looking at for our meeting next week. Or
Thank
Wednesday,
you.
rather, sorry.
Thank you, Counselor. Thank you, Counselor. Appreciate that insight. Anybody else, Tim, on your end? Mayor Como?
I would ask any other counselors, do you have any concerns, any information you'd like to see come through the upcoming workshop that you may have questions on, so they're prepared? One of the things and Tim touched on it, I think the change in the level of care is a concern to me, why that change was made, and just to make sure that we are getting the level of care that we always have been. That seems to be a question it will be asked. So prepare for that. And any others, Councilman? If not, Mr. Chairman, I see none.
Okay, thank you, Mayor. I see Bailey has a chat on and she would like to answer that question then. And then, of course, we haven't gone through yet, a few of us as commissioners, and if it's not addressed, I will address it as my thoughts. Okay, Bailey, floor is yours.
Sure, thank you. And you may still have more questions after this, Tim, but we've gotten that same question as far as the level of care. And I guess my question back to you would be, what makes you is there a concern that our licensure is not as high as medics? Because we do have the same level of licensure. Both of us are in an ALS service.
Bailey, this is Ron. May I interject? Would that be appropriate?
Sure, go ahead. We kind of got rid of Robert's rules, but I just need to go through me so we don't talk over each other. So Ron,
Yes,
you're
sir.
up.
So I think so. I think there was an inadvertent change in our contract that some of the wording went from advanced life support to basic life support. We didn't ask for that, and we as well are an advanced life support provider, and we will, irrespective of that typo or whatever, that change, we will provide advanced life support, as will Castle Rock in their implementation. I am sure that's our standard of care, and you would have a mutiny of providers if if that came up. So we've worked too hard to build a system together. So we're not going backwards. So for what that's worth.
Thank you, Ron. Appreciate that.
Mr. Chairman, if I could, just one question. Thanks, Ron, for that, and Bailey. But from what I understand, this recommendation came from John DeLeon from your side. Was there a reason?
Let me clear that up. John DeLeon doesn't do anything other than when the commission directs him. That was put in there as an option so that the crews would not have to have 4 ALS in a cab. If a crew of 4, it could be 2 ALS, could be 1, as long as the rest was filled out. We had the expectation due to costs and everything. That's the reason that was passed through. And we as a commission, I truly believe, felt that if we one ALS trained person in there could, along with basic BLS, could certainly support the quality of services that were needed, but it's an option that's left up to the provider. In Ron's case, like he said, he's not going to he's going to stay with ALS. When we were doing the request for interest, there were one of the requests coming in was the fact that we would make sure that that they had ALS people there, but also would provide for basic as well, because there may not be enough ALS individuals. So that's strictly in there as an option, and that was changed for this contract. Remember, that contract is only for medics. As we move forward and put together the Board of County Commissioners will, as would have been through the request for information, rewrite a new contract. And if a memorandum of understanding can be reached between the cities and the counties, and that, then of course there will be input for that. And then of course the commission will decide then as we move forward with the new contract, when it's time for it, as well as services, that those, then they'll have to decide, hey, do we do a resolution, and how is that resolution is going to remain the same, or is it going to be different to have a oversight ambulance board as we presently have? And then that board will have to review it, because they do know what ambulances are about. Things move fast. I know there's questions out there on that board, why things move so quickly and that type of thing. And a couple things changed, but that was the reason for it. And we still have to talk as a commission as to how those duties of that board should change, because we have input from that board. And if that's the case, we need to redo the resolution, not only for the remainder of this contract, as well as do a new resolution. But again, too, like Councilor Robinson had commented, funding needs to be decided. We as a commission, I think I can speak freely, are committed to making sure we have ambulance service. We're committed to making sure there is an opportunity to make sure that the providers have ALS. Also, they can fill in for BLS services. But we also know, working with Bailey and the business they've done for over 40 years, we know that Castle Rock, if everything can come together as we hope it does, the service area east of Rock Springs, north and south of Rock Springs, as well as, I'll just say whatever Sweetwater Medics did, the commission is expecting that whoever steps in and provides, in this case, Castle Rock, for that area, that will continue, and it will continue at the quality that the citizens have come to expect. So we're committed to making it work, even if we can't get a MOU ironed out right away, and even if we can't determine where the funding is going to come. I think we've said that, and I was going to save those comments until commissioners had an opportunity to comment after everybody else. But Mayor, you asked a question, so I hope I answered it for you.
I appreciate that, Mr. Chairman, and that would bring up just one other quick question from Chief Walmsley.
Mr. Chairman, I do have a question in reference to the special taxation district. As Councilor Bushman noted, Green River is within the boundaries of Castle Rock Hospital District. And I know that in the Safe Tech reports and discussions prior to this, there has been a lot of discussion about a countywide mill levy. When we pursue that, to me, it makes sense that we just expand the boundaries of Castle Rock Hospital District. I'm not sure that the folks, that industry on the western part of the county would appreciate another 3 mills for a service that they're already paying for. So I'm curious if that's the direction the commission is looking at. just expanding the boundaries of Castle Rock Hospital District, or if they had a different idea in mind.
The way I would answer it, but I can't speak for what the thinking is of all the commissioners, is first of all, Chief Walmsley, it's a great question. It's, I think it's a lot of thinking in that area, but no discussion. I think it's a little premature. I look at this, at what we're doing right now as when I say short term, it could be 3 to 5 years timeline. This is a short-term fix as the committee, which is presently made up right now of 2 counselors, Counselor Bushman and Counselor Robinson, as well as Commissioner Smith. I think once we get the short-term fix hammered out, that committee, along with some other experts, are going to have to get together and start looking at directions we need to go and make a recommendation. And once we have that recommendation, then we're going to have to start hammering out how it's going to look and how are we going to deal with those impacts. So I think it's a little premature to say exactly the direction, but I think that's the direction that I, as a commissioner at this point in time, as chairman, would encourage our commission to look at. I don't know if the mayors have a different look at that, but you know what, we're going to count on, I'm going to count on that committee of 3, and if they expand it to more, that's entirely up to them to make that request. And then I'm going to look for their direction. That's going to be that committee's responsibility. And as long as the 2 cities and the outlying towns want to be a part of that and continue to do it, then we'll let those groups make that work through that. But Chief Walmsley, I talked around that. I'm sorry, but I think it's premature. I think we've got to.
Mr. Chairman?
Who is that? Commissioner Smith, thanks. You're going to bail me out?
I'll try.
Okay.
What I asked at the Castle Rock Hospital District Board meeting last week was to, and I've asked Bailey to do, put together your proposal with the overall cost of what this is going to be without any supplement from the hospital district. So what is this going to cost just flat out overall? And then we will be able to discuss, is that, what kind of subsidy do you need? Does part of that come from the mill that's being collected? Because the Castle Rock Hospital District, and Bailey can talk to this more, I'm sure, not required to provide ambulance. And so the taxes that are being collected are for that hospital district, but for the clinic, physicians, everybody there, ambulance is an add-on. It's not something that has to be there. And so that was my request. Do us the cost for whatever the ambulance is going to cost just overall after you've made collections. What's your subsidy going to be? And then we can talk about, does Castle Rock contribute from the money they've already collected? Does Rock Springs contribute? How does that work? So that's what I asked last week. Just give us an overall cost, and then we can talk about the subdividing after that.
Thank you. That sounds easier than what I said, but it's still, if it goes to a district, that's a different thought. That's long-term. Thank you. Anything else, Chief Walmsley? Does that answer your question?
That answers my question. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Chief. Anything else out there for either Bailey, or I would even say for Commissioner Smith? He's in the weeds with this more than I am.
Commissioner Wendling, could I speak to one kind of issue that we tabled, and I just want to make sure that everybody's clear on the level of care?
We really, yes, you please do, Bailey. Thank you.
So thank you. I just pulled our information because Ron's been sharing some data with me in the last week. And so that everybody is clear, we both have the same level of licensure. Both of us are ALS providers. But more than that, I think one of the misconceptions that's in our community is that Medics is the only service that provides paramedic level of care, which is not the case. Currently, Sweetwater Medics has 3 full-time paramedics, and Castle Rock has 2. full-time paramedics. So one service is not, as far as the ratio of staff goes, one service is not heavily, paramedic, and another service is just basic EMTs or something like that. We do have similar mixes for our staffing. And although we may not have a paramedic on every single call, it's also not necessary to have a paramedic on every single call. And I think Ron, kind of spoke to that before as well. So we will do our best to provide every level of care that anybody needs. But at the end of the day, that's really what we're looking at here, is just making sure that we get enough staff, of course, to be able to staff our ambulances the way that they need them. But we are not looking at cutting level of care in Rock Springs by any means.
Thank you, Bailey.
Sure.
That help out, Mayor?
That does help out. I just would like to add just for a minute, we've been going down this road for a long time. I want to thank Commissioner Smith, Councilman Bushman, Robinson, the committee for their great work they've done over the past several weeks, staying in there, the many meetings, and Ron Gaddy, Steve Corbella, Sweetwater Medics, Bailey, her crew at Castle Rock. This hasn't been an easy pill to digest, and we understand we all agree this is an essential service. Irene at the hospital, Taylor, for everybody's help in trying to make this work. I'm sure we'll work out eventually what this is going to cost and how we're going to fund this, but it's nice to know we're somewhat closing the door on a plan to make sure that our communities and the county have dependable ambulance service. And greatly appreciate Sweetwater Medics and all they've done for our community over the years, and Castle Rock. But it's nice to see that we're moving closer to a plan.
Thank you, Mayor. Okay, I'll ask again, any more questions for either Bailey or Ron out of Rock Springs? Superior. Mayor Wolf, any questions regarding ambulance?
Just the only question that is, I'm leaving it up to, of course, Rock Springs and Green River to help us out for sure, but and county commissioners for sure. But I don't know. I just want to make sure that we have service, and I want to thank Rock Springs Medic and Castle Rock as well for coming out here. But making sure that there's a hub in Rock Springs to still get out here, and just, I guess, thinking of things like that for us. Other than that, I just leave it to you guys to tell you what we need out here, I guess. But that's my only concern.
Thank you, Mayor. Appreciate those comments. Before I go to Green River, I'm going to their leadership, Mayor Rust. I'll want to swing out there to Wamsutter, and I guess they're not on. Has anybody yet come on yet from Wamsutter? Apparently not. Okay, Mayor Rust, anything from your end?
Thanks, Mr. Chairman. I'm just gonna, it always happens when you're the last one of the group. I can almost just say ditto on what Tim had to say, but I definitely appreciate the work that Jeff and Sherry and Tim have done. Ron Gaddy and Bailey, because I know it's been a long journey, and it seems like we've really accelerated they have really accelerated the work that's been done just in the last couple of weeks, and we've made amazing progress. So from the city of Green River's council's point of view, Sherry's done a good job of reporting and keeping us up on what's been going on, and we're just sitting back and waiting for the plan to develop and the very many details that are involved, and we'll respond as time permits and we get the details that we need to respond to. And that's pretty much the position that we're in, is we're supportive of everybody's efforts, and we appreciate everybody's efforts. And obviously cost is a concern. And, you know, we'll see how things progress, and we'll participate in whatever fair manner is determined. So I think we're encouraged that it's a countywide plan that was the recommendation in the first place. We're moving towards that, and we're everybody on the Green River Council was pretty enthusiastic that it seems like we've made great progress. So we're ready to respond when the more details come forward.
All right, you got your pen out and your checkbook, right? Is that what I heard
Right
you
here,
say? All right,
Mr.
I heard you were
Commissioner.
ready to respond, so I couldn't leave that door open. Mayor Como, don't you open that door. All right, with that, I'll go last but least. I know it'll be the commissioners, so at this time, I know Commissioner Smith has commented on other things to help out, but I'm going to open up the floor for any of the other commissioners. I've already said, and what I was going to say, and Tim, you asked that question, so provide me opportunity to talk towards it. But any other commissioners, Commissioner Tolman, anything to say?
Just thank you for the efforts, and I hope that we will continue looking for really a long-term solution if this is not it.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Lloyd?
No, I just think we all have been saying for a while that we wanted to find a solution, and I think we're working toward that. And I want to thank Bailey for coming back to the table and meeting with us and talking with us and making that an option. And want to thank Ron for his courtesy and cooperation, and the committee for their work.
Thank you, Commissioner. Commissioner Smith, anything else to add?
I'm in good shape. I appreciate Bailey and Todd and Castle Rock for coming back to the table and making it happen as far as it has so far, and we'll keep on working on it.
Thank you very much, and I thank you for your work and the committee's work, and I thank Bailey and Sweetwater Medics for their willingness to sit down and visit things and that type of thing. Now, last but not least, but very most important, is our Memorial Hospital staff that have out there, and of course watching and that type of thing. Irene or Taylor, do you have anything to add?
Chairman Wendling, this is Irene. I too want to echo everyone's comments. I think this is excellent work, and hats off to Ron and Sweetwater Medics and Bailey and Castle Rock for working on this, and of course the ambulance committee, Commissioner Smith and Councilman Robinson and Councilwoman Bushman. This has been really good, and of course our number one concern is the safety of our patients. Bailey and I are going to be working on making sure those provisions are put in the transfer agreement for the training and everything. So we really appreciate everybody's work on this, and also to the commissioners for coming up with a solution on this. It's good. Thank you.
Thank you, Irene. Appreciate your comments. Taylor, did you have anything to add? Or
no, it's already been said, so appreciate it.
all right, thank you for being on, both of you, and appreciate your support. Okay, with that, if there's nothing more regarding the ambulance committee, we'll move on to, I believe, joint communications, and that I just want to let both mayors know that we're in a position here, I believe at next Tuesday's meeting, to probably come forward with an agenda item to have a motion to move in the direction of reviewing the joint communications contract. With that, let me share with you as soon as we get the fine touches on it, which I hope will be by sometime tomorrow, we will, as minute we get it into our agenda packet tomorrow and sent to the newspapers for publication, I will have our county attorney forward a copy to you as mayors, and you can get it to your attorneys or wherever you need it. So I'll stand for any questions with that. Mayors?
Sounds good to me, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you,
Mr.
Commissioner Rust, Commissioner Como. I'm sorry, Mayor Rust, Mayor Como.
Mr. Chairman, I'm happy to hear that, and we are excited to take that, review it, and add comments where needed, and hopefully we can get that one resolved.
Yeah, and I think once we get our, if your councils approve it and the commission approves it moving forward, then the Commissioner Lloyd will represent the commission. He's the liaison to joint communications, correct, Commissioner Lloyd?
Yes.
Yeah, and he'll work with, he'll contact you as mayors to get a rep and sit down and start looking at that. Again, make sure that either of your governments look at it, and we'll look at it, and then send things that we feel desired need to be looked at in the contract, and you guys as well. And then we'll look forward to hearing some recommendations that the committee has come up with. Is that agreeable, Mayor Como?
It is, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. How about Mayor Rust?
Yes, sir. Sounds
All right.
good.
Thank you very much. At this time, moving on, let's go to 6 Penny. I'm just going to double check. Is Commissioner Shanefield on? Good.
Hello,
Lauren,
Mr.
thank you.
Chairman.
Thank you
I've
for
been on
joining.
the whole time, about 5 minutes late.
Okay, I didn't have the participant thing up in front of me, and that's okay. I just kept checking. So I'm glad you could join us and that type of thing. So I'll let you talk with the 6 Penny, and then I'll open it up for questions, okay?
Absolutely.
And
So we've
let
had,
me- excuse me, point of order for this. I think I'm going to try my best not to reference this as a 6 penny anymore. I think we need to reference this as a special purpose tax, not the 6 penny. It's historically, and because if we go to a 6 penny, it could have been a general purpose tax this last time I had that passed. So I'll try to reference it as special purpose tax from this point on. Thank you. And I'll let you guys help me. So the floor is yours, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Before, Mr. Chairman and Lauren, if you could, specific purpose tax. I think anything we can label specific would greatly enhance our ability to prove our point.
Agreed. Thank you very much for that. Go ahead, Commissioner.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've had 2 meetings as a group, and we had Stiefel and I think Turncore present at the last one to kind of walk through some of the concerns that we had as a group after the general purpose tax, and just discussing, what would potentially be hurdles that we may encounter, how we could potentially work through that. And as a general consensus, there was support from all of the municipalities. Obviously, nobody's voted on anything, but general support from all the municipalities except for Rock Springs. And I'm not saying that Rock Springs is not in support. They just haven't been able to flush that out yet. And so they have had a number of meetings, and I'll let Councilman West speak on this. They've had a number of meetings that they've ended up either not having enough participation just because of scheduling, or needing to table it and move on for other things. And so we've decided that as a group, we are absolutely not planning on moving forward with any next steps until we know that we've got everybody kind of on board. And I want to talk a little bit about what we discussed as in next steps if Rock Springs is on board, and that would be reaching out to our community and finding out what some community stakeholders are thinking, how what their thoughts are around the whole process, what they may want to have as a part of a specific purpose tax initiative, and what they'd be willing to support. And so we plan on, if Rock Springs wants to move forward with the discussion and with the process, we would take that as is a potential next step before even looking at approving anything or an MOU or anything along those lines. So we will hopefully meet over the next week or two. I'm hoping to get something in before Christmas, maybe even in between. And then we will continue the discussion from there. And I would stand for any questions and then also turn it over to anybody else that's been a part of that group. We've had a lot of people show up to those meetings and it's been really good.
Good, thank you. Let's start first of all with Counselor West. Good evening, Keaton.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman.
Floor is yours, bud.
So as Commissioner Shanefield pointed out, we did host a special meeting. Can't remember if it was before the first committee meeting or in between, but either way, it was lightly attended. So we did not have quorum, or at least enough to get a general feel for how Rock Springs, what their stance is to move forward with the specific purpose tax or not. So last week at our regular scheduled meeting, we had discussion about it again and still have not got anywhere. So probably frustrating for you all, certainly is for me too, but we've went ahead and scheduled another one for this Wednesday after the ambulance meeting that we're hosting to hopefully get an answer as to what we're going to do forward. So unfortunately, I don't have much more than that to add. I don't think I've seen much discussion from any of the other municipalities or even the county, but it sounds like there is a general consensus that everyone does want to move forward pending what Rock Springs does. So hope to have an answer soon, and sorry I don't yet.
All right, thank you, Councilman. At this time, I'll open the floor up for questions from anybody. Let's roll through the towns first. Let's go Superior. Mayor Wolf, any questions regarding Six Penny, or were you on?
Yeah, well, we're very, very interested in the Six Penny. Like I said, that's our lifeline out here. Any way I can help, any way my staff can help, we will. But hopefully, I'm just glad that we're talking about it again. And that's all I got to say.
Thank you, Mayor. Green River, Mayor Rust, anything, or Councilor Sherry?
Well, I'll start, Mayor, and then if Councilwoman Bushman has anything, she can certainly chime in. And Green River is strongly in supportive of a specific purpose tax. Likes the idea of going to our community and identifying from them the projects that they support and would like to see happen. And we're, of course, as everybody has said, we're waiting to see what Rock Springs is going to do to see how the rest of us are going to respond. So we're strongly in support of the tax.
Thank you, Mayor. Councilor Bushman, do you have anything to add?
No, just an echo that we're totally.
Okay. Thank you. You froze, so we didn't get everything. I apologize. So, Mayor Como, anything to add? I think besides what Councilor West commented.
Mr. Chairman, I can tell you that I myself, with the City of Rock Springs, support the idea. I'm a little bit concerned over the attitude and the taste in everyone's mouth from the last attempt on the general purpose tax, but I think the specific purpose tax is much needed for all of our communities, just waiting to see what the projects bring, whether there's going to be a cap or a menu type of ballot question. But I do support that. I don't speak for our entire council, but hopefully by our upcoming meeting here on Wednesday, Councilor West will have a good idea of where we are and can share that with the group.
Thank you, Mayor. Anybody else from the entities? I'll even open up the floor at this time if any commissioner has anything to say. Commissioner Lloyd?
Yeah, Chairman Wendling, I just want to say, I know we formally haven't had a lot of discussions about this at any time with the commission. I know we just Lauren's been leading the committee. I just want to kind of reiterate what Tim said. I worry a little bit about the taste of people, of what Tim said, the taste in people's mouth based upon what happened with the general purpose tax. And I kind of feel there's a lack of public trust with what happened the last time with information. So I myself haven't fully decided if I'm 100% behind this or not, but I think if we are to move forward, they have to be very tight, specific projects that can be tangible, touchable. It needs to focus on municipality issues. I don't think we should be looking at nonprofits or other entities. It needs to be municipality based. I would recommend if we move forward a smaller amount to regain public trust, but that's just my opinion. But I'm also going to be on the borderline to tell you that I'm not 100% sure. I think it's the best move at this point based upon what happened the last tax, but I'm willing to listen to what's happened. But my preference was if we move forward at a lower amount, to really consider a lower amount with very specific items we're looking at.
Thank you, Commissioner Lloyd. Commissioner Tolman, anything?
I would agree with what Commissioner Lloyd has said.
Okay, thank you. All right.
Mr. Chairman.
Commissioner, yeah, Commissioner Shanefield, I'm going to let you finish up with Sixpenny for the committee, please.
Thank you. So I just wanted to point out to Commissioner Lloyd and Commissioner Tolman as well that if there is a general consensus of moving forward with the process, there's a number of different things that were discussed in our last meeting with Stiefel and with TurnCore that would specifically address your concerns, and it would put the choice and the decision back to our voters. It would, and this is why I suggested, and they suggested, starting the process with reaching out to our stakeholders and finding out those things. So this would be before we even vote to move forward with anything, before we have any discussion around CAP or the process. We need to go back to our community and find out what they want. And this is something we haven't done in a long period of time. And so it's something that we absolutely need to take in stride, and we need to look at, and we need to ensure that we are being very open and transparent. And I would be willing to bet that if we give our community different specific lists and allow them, I know Cheyenne, Laramie County did something. I'm not saying that we would go 100% in that direction, but they put like 12 or 13 different ballot initiatives on it, and all but one passed. And that gave their citizens the opportunity to look at exactly what they wanted and make that choice. And so that's something that I think is an option. I'm not suggesting we do that many, but there's lots of different options that are available that we would bring Stiefel and TurnCore in to talk with all of us and ensure that we're all on the same page. Because if we approach this like we did with the last general purpose tax initiative and aren't all on the same page and don't all have the same message, it's not going to be successful. If we're all saying different things, we may have a difference of opinion, but if we vote moving forward, we have to work together, and we have to give all of the information concisely to the community, or it won't be successful.
Thank you, Commissioner. Any other comments? The only thing I would add to what you just said, just to mention, is time flies, things happen and get away quickly. So I think it becomes real imperative that in order to work the plan that committee's putting together, informing the public and doing things even before we vote to move forward, to check and see where the pulse of the people of this county are, we need to get moving on that. And, and I don't want to run out of time and be on again, we don't have enough time to do it right. We still have enough time to do it right, but we're running out of time so that we can do it right. And I think it's important that we be able to move forward as soon as possible, even if that means moving forward with the support of Rock Springs, moving forward, even, but yet knowing that gives them time to have a conversation about it. I don't know how that would look, but I sense we truly need to move forward with this plan that this committee is thinking of, and give us plenty of time to make sure we're doing it right. So that's on my only comment, but I think it's moving in the right direction, and I thank the people that are on that committee and the work, and I hope the city of Rock Springs does see this and that type of thing, that it could be done right, and we'd have an opportunity to go out and be very specific and show people that we're only going to do what it is that needs to be done. So thank you. Anything else on the special purpose? Specific purpose. Or specific purpose. Thank you, Mayor. Specific purpose. Thank you. Okay, with that, moving on with the agenda, the next thing would be if there's anything for the good of the order to put on at a next meeting before we decide when the next meeting is.
Mr. Chairman, none from me. I think these two items really need to get resolved, and I think right now that's enough to chew on for us anyway.
Okay, yeah, okay, Mayor Rust, your thoughts, leadership?
No, I just appreciate everybody's efforts, and I did get a text from Councilwoman Bushman that said that, you know, when she got cut off, she was expressing what her belief was the need to sustain the quality of life, and the specific purpose tax was a good tool to do that. So I just wanted to mention that. That's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
All right, thank you, and thank you, Councilor Bushman. Mayor Wolf, anything to add? Or any thoughts for the future meetings, or do we have enough on our plate?
It sounds like you guys got enough on your plate, but I want to thank everybody that's on this meeting again for looking out for the town of Superior and us small municipalities.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll continue on with those as primary agenda items, unless somebody at the beginning of the meeting wants to add something, some thoughts as we move towards the future and that type of thing, if we're able to start bringing some closure to a couple of these items, is how often do we want to meet, that type of thing. Then also, do we want to expand this, i.e., as been suggested, to have reports to this group by groups that we share MOUs with, that we and that type of thing, so that they can do one report rather than go to a commissioner meeting as well as 2 city council meetings, out of respect for their time. So just throwing it out there. And then one idea too, if possible, is do we want to switch hosting from county, in between the county and the 2 larger cities? I don't know if the small towns would want to, but I'm not saying they're not important. I just don't know if that's what they'd want to. So that might be out there, but that's for further discussion. But I just want to throw that out there as ideas for the future, only after we close out 1 or 2 of the items we're presently working on. So with that, that brings us to our next meeting. And
Mr. Chairman.
Yes, Commissioner Shanefield.
If I could have the opportunity to share on the meetings that we have, or the meeting that we have set up for tomorrow, just to give everybody a heads up, and then another one on Friday.
I think that's very good. Thank you.
I apologize. I wasn't here when the meeting started. I would have added it.
You're good. I meant to do it myself, but I'm glad you're on it. Thank you.
Okay, just a heads up for everyone that we have a White House Interagency Working Group on coal communities meeting. This tomorrow will include myself, Mayor Como, Reed, the city administrator from Green River, Eric Bingham, the Dean of Outreach and Workforce Development from WWCC, Ron Wild, who will be speaking about some different opportunities in Bitcoin and blockchain for our community. And Holly, she is with the School of Energy Resources at the University of Wyoming. And so this meeting is with the federal agencies working on the coal impacted communities. They gave us specifically 1 hour to speak about the needs in our community, where we've seen the impacts, give them an overview of our community, and then also having a discussion around what our needs are, whether that's infrastructure and workforce development. We've got a few of those things laid out. And then we also have what projects we could look at potentially as moving forward. Again, the carbon capture, the Middle Baxter Road expansion, the blockchain and Bitcoin opportunities. There's some rare earth minerals that they're looking at across the state as well. And then really tapping into the federal agencies and finding out what kind of funding they have available to us and how they can streamline that process, because it has been very disjointed. They're recognizing that, and they're wanting our input on how to move forward with that. So we will be doing that tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. And then we also, I have a meeting similar to this. It's a state level one with the same group of White House Interagency Working Group on Friday morning with the governor's office. And I will be speaking as a panelist to represent Sweetwater County on that meeting as well, with similar impacts and strategies and just communication around what our needs are. So if there are any questions or input, and if anybody has anything additional that they would like me to throw in there or make sure that I include, please let me know. I will be checking my email and preparing throughout this evening. So,
Commissioner Shanefield, do we have the time and the Zoom or the YouTube channel for that Friday meeting?
I don't believe, I don't have that, but I will have to find out. It will be recorded. I will find out from Drew tomorrow, and I can email it out to everybody.
Yeah, because having it announced and that type of thing, there will be people that'll be very much interested, and if the opportunity presents itself, if it's zoomed on YouTube, I think there will be people that'll want to watch it live rather than recording. And knowing that we were going to possibly on our agenda talk about this tonight, I notified our clerk's office and tech that tomorrow's panelist would be on YouTube as well as recorded, and then on our website as well as YouTube. So because there will be people that won't get the Zoom invites that will want to watch it and that type of thing. So we're making this an opportunity as the public knows that we're truly out there looking at what the opportunities are. I want to thank you as well as those that are participating and working with Drew and getting this set up and get people involved. I know some staff here at the courthouse have worked hard at last minute to make this happen. And also want to thank you for participating on Friday. I think any opportunity we can get to show that personal local representation on any of these, with whether it's federal or state agencies, it's important that we take those advantages even though they're last minute. So I want to thank everybody who is making tomorrow morning happen, as well as those that are participating, as well as what's happening on Friday. So thank you very much for sharing. Any questions for Lauren regarding tomorrow morning or this Friday?
Lauren?
Go ahead, Mayor.
Yeah, Reed needs an invitation. I believe I have one, but that I can probably forward to him. But
please,
I believe he told me before this meeting, I don't know if he's gotten one in between, but that he didn't think he had an invitation. He was out of town, but so if you could, that would be helpful. Thank you.
Absolutely.
We'll get it done. Thank you. Any other questions? Mayor Wolf, did you have anything?
I was just wondering where this was happening at tomorrow morning.
It's a Zoom meeting, but
Okay.
basically it'll also be YouTube. It'll be on the county webs down at the bottom below the calendar where we normally post our Board of County Commissioners meeting stuff.
Sounds good. Thank you.
There'll be a link to YouTube there. Does that help out?
Sure does. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions? All right, next meeting. Holiday seasons, Mayor. Are your thoughts okay? Enough progress that we can wait till January?
Mr. Chairman, we're gonna have staff people taken off, I'm sure, so I think sometime the week of the 3rd might be the best.
Thank you. Let me go to January here. Okay, yeah, I'm looking at it. Mayor Rust?
Yeah, I agreed. Commissioner Wendling.
Okay. Let's go to monthly for January. I've got to look at our
City
January.
council meeting that week, so maybe Wednesday, the 5th.
Okay, there we go. Wednesday, the 5th.
Or Thursday, the 6th, whatever works for you.
Okay, the Thursday, the 6th. Thursday, let me see what else. I'm looking I got to expand mine here. See what there's. Conservation District is listed that day supposedly. Recurring Pacific Soda #3. No, I think when I look at Wednesday, it can be probably Wednesday or Thursday. I know, let me share this, that Wednesday at 4 o'clock. Mac McDermott wishes to continue the conversations with storm sewer. So if you think we can meet right after that at 5:30, that's fine, or go to Thursday. Mayor Rust?
Either one works for us.
Thursday would work better for me.
All right, let's go to Thursday then. All right, Thursday, January 6th, 5:30. Sweetwater County again host. Commissioners, you okay with that? Okay. I know Lauren.
You're good.
All right, Jeff.
Sounds awesome to me.
All right, the 6th at 5:30. We'll get Zooms out. Sally will work on it along with our clerk. With that, any more business to come before us tonight under other? With that, I would like to tell everybody that before we adjourn, to tell everybody Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. If you're traveling, please be safe and continue also to spend as much time as you can with your families. And through these holiday times, keep a remembrance of those families who had a desire to be with families, and because of some unfortunate tragedy, no matter what it was or what the occurrence is, they will have a more saddened holidays, and keep them in our prayers as well. But with that, Merry Christmas, Happy New Year, be safe. I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
I so move.
So moved by Commissioner Lloyd, second by Commissioner Tolman. Meeting adjourned. Thank you, everyone.